how to be productive in the most unproductive of times. So, since we all know we have been interacting online, especially in these times when we are confined to our homes, I feel such webinars give us space to interact, share our feelings, and understand that we are not alone. And especially mental health is also a priority for us to focus on. So today's webinar is going to discuss something about productivity and our mental health. We are joined by the speaker, Ms. Prakriti Das. She is an old friend of the department and currently working with Acuity Knowledge Services as an assistant director. Prakriti has a total work experience of over 16 years. She has worked across various multinational firms like American Express, Vertex, Barclays in the position of a trainer and directing people to maximize their potential. So we welcome you, Prakriti. And Prakriti has conducted a few workshops for the students of DCEJ earlier, so we know how inspiring and transformational her workshops have been. So, taking much less of the time, I now share the stage with Prakriti to start the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bableen. So, welcome everybody and good afternoon. How's everybody doing? I would like to hear from a couple of you. How are you all doing?
Doing well.
They saw you here. I'm sure they're all excited.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I would like to hear from everybody. So you all know I'm not going to go ahead with my introduction. Bableen has introduced me really well. Thank you, Bableen, for that. And everybody, Yuki, Geeta, thank you for having me here. Huge privilege. And like I was talking to Geeta and Yuki the other day, and I said, coming back to your university is actually it's a huge privilege for me because it's one of the best times I've had in training. So interacting with all of you has been amazing. So I'm so glad to be here. Do feel free to switch your videos on. It's nicer if I can see you. It'll be nice, and just keep yourself on mute. And I think there is an option of raising your hand. So if you have a question, you can go ahead and raise your hand. Yeah. So yeah, I would like to see you. That's I like to be connected. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So interesting topic. Very cliche in the current times. Like how do you be productive in unproductive times? So when I gave this topic to Yuki, I knew how cliche it was because these days that's what everybody's talking about. Let's be productive. The times are unproductive. Things are not going that great. We don't know what our future holds. And I'm sure all of you have questions being university students, right? What does my future look like? Am I going to be great? Am I not going to be that great? What's going to happen? So my question before I begin, today's session is going to be, what are you currently doing to be productive? It's a very simple question. Go for it, whoever wants to answer. It takes the heart of a lion to start, or a lioness.
Come on, guys.
Are you doing something to be productive? That's my question. And even if you're not, it's okay. But my question is, are you? And if you are, then what? What is it?
I've been writing.
You've been writing? Yes, I've been seeing your writing also. Some great stuff. Okay, thank you. Ina, Divya, Jagrati.
Yeah, I started off with a course in writing to know how can the things be made more professional.
Oh, interesting. So you have an interest in writing, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Started with a professional training certificate course for it.
Oh, good. Excellent, Jagrati. What about Hina? Okay, I've got Divya's message saying, okay, Lakshmi is saying doing internships and online courses. Somebody's messaged me. So I am getting a couple of very interesting messages. Doing internship, online courses. Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
I am working on my photography.
Oh, really? You're a photographer?
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I'm not professional.
You just need to tell yourself you're a photographer. You don't need to dictate. That's more than enough. Okay, I've got another message where somebody is saying that trying digital art. So interesting, yeah. What else? I'm sure all of you have a lot of interesting stuff that you're doing. Learning professional writing. Aditi, okay. A lot of you are writing. Okay. A lot of you are writing. This is a writer's paradise. Like you all can make like a nice group poster session and write together.
So is no one just sitting and looking out of the window? Something that we couldn't do in the earlier days. Or it's like, let's think of productive answer.
And it's
No
too hot to peep out.
Oh,
Huh?
sorry?
It's too
Nature.
hot to peep outside.
It's too hot to be outside. Yeah. I have Shreya who's written in who's saying that she's learning the ukulele. You guys know what the ukulele is? That small guitar. It's like a small version of a guitar. It's a beautiful instrument. Then somebody's learning the German language. Then somebody's making mandalas and improving my drawing and sketching, trying new DIY, sketching, poetry, dancing, photographing, writing blogs, and gender issues more frequently. I wonder why gender issues. Okay, so a lot of you are doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think somebody needs to put their, themselves on mute because I can hear some background noise. Yeah. Okay, now my first pointer to all of you in today's session, very cliched session about being productive in unproductive times is, can you read this? Or is it the other way around?
Yes, we can read it.
Yeah? Can somebody say it out loud?
Can you hold it a little more in the middle of the screen? And
Is that better?
no, little backwards. Like where your face is exactly. That. Don't stress. We can read.
Don't stress, be happy.
Thoda upward.
Instead.
Yeah.
So I'm going to help you read it. So the first message that I want to give out to all of you is don't stress and be happy instead. Okay? You have nothing to prove to anybody, guys. You don't have to do, things that people expect you to do. You don't have to fall under pressure just because the entire world is doing whatever they're doing. Yeah? We're all in this together. We are all dealing with something we have never dealt with before. So like Bableen said, it's okay to look out of the window. And it's okay to actually do nothing 4 days out of 7 days. And why am I saying that, guys? You know why? Because if you have the stress of doing something productive, you will never be good. Let that sink in. I'm going to say that again. If you're working with the stress of being productive, you will never be productive. So my message to all of you in this session today is, you know what? At times, it's okay to not be productive. It's more important to be happy because everything is new to us right now. Does that make sense? So you all are doing great stuff. Huh? I mean, don't get me wrong. But don't do it under duress. Don't do it under stress because the world is doing it, not because you are. So that's point number one. I hope that kind of has made you think about things. You have nothing to prove to anybody. Okay. What about exercise routines? What about what about working out? I've been seeing all these celebrities that they've been putting these videos, right? People are working out, people are doing yoga, people are walking. There are a lot of things that people do. How does that figure for you? Are you spending some time in any physical exercise? You guys saying no.
I did it for like a week when the lockdown happened. When even in the middle I started going out for walks with my mother, but then I was like, I'm not an exercise person. So no.
You're not an exercise person. Okay. Jagriti is like, no, I don't feel like exercise. Okay, let me just explain something to you. Guys, more than being productive, what is important at this point is exercise. And I'll tell you why. A lot of times people say things like, if I have a happy mind, I will have a happy body. Sorry, if I have a happy, if I have a happy mind, I will have a happy body, right? So only if I'm in the mood for it, right? Yuvika, Jagriti? When I'm in the mood for it, I will go out and take a walk. But the point is that right now, we don't have that luxury. And sometimes it works the other way around. So if you have a happy body, it will convert you into a happy mind. Because it's very, very scientific. If you're exercising, and I'm not saying you need to do things that everybody else is doing. If it's just a 20-minute walking that you're doing, or even if it's just like a 15 minutes breathing that you're doing, you're actually training your mind to be happy because it's releasing happy hormones. And guys, it's very, very normal to be upset, low, depressed, anxious in the times that we're in. Yeah, so it becomes all the more critical. And trust me, you're going to thank me for it later. Right now, it may seem like a task, but you'll start enjoying it. So it's not always that if you have a happy mind, you will exercise your body. Sometimes it's the other way around. If you have a happy body, it will help you deal with stuff that is happening to you right now. So my point number 2 is this. Happy body is equal to happy mind. Yeah, so think about it, how you want to incorporate that. Now, you have a happy body, you have a happy mind, you have done all of that. You're not taking stress about being productive, you're doing things that you enjoy. All that's great, right? Now comes to what should I do? I have so much time, I have so much to achieve. Of course, I've got my internship, I've got a couple of things to do. But there's so many things that I want to achieve, right? There's so much that I want to do. I have so many ideas in my mind. So what should I do? What should you do, guys? Help me. What do I do?
I think we should like write down everything, whatever we have, and then figure it out that how and when we have to do it. Like in a timeline kind of sort of thing, maybe.
Shreya's also messaged saying plan it out. Now, plan it out are 3 words, but my question is that's the what. Tell me the how. How do I plan it out? Okay, write it down. That's step 1. What else? We all write it down. What else?
You need to
What else can I-
implement what you have planned. You need to implement it.
You need to implement it. Okay, so let me just explain something to you guys. Whenever you tell yourself that you need to do something, you will never do it. Or whenever you tell yourself, I should be exercising, you will never do it. Tell me why? You'll never do it. Or at least 90% of you will not. Why? I need to do it. I should do it. Look at the words you're using. Should, need. What are you doing? Compulsion. Okay.
Commanding our minds.
So these words like you should, you need, you must, what do they remind you of?
A forceful activity. We are forcing
Forceful.
something, imposing something on us that we don't want to do.
Right. So it seems like a forceful command, somebody says. Shreya has said that. Oh yeah, somebody said, Saurabh has said, sorry, that's not Saurabh, that's Geeta. Geeta has said it sounds like a teacher, right? So it sounds like a disciplinary figure. These are words teachers and our parents have said to us, right? You should exercise, you should get good marks. So what are you doing? When you're using these words now, guys, you don't realize it is linking you to an authority figure, and we as people rebel against authority figures. So if something is said to you with authority and with a command, you're not going to do it. So if you tell your body, I should exercise, you will not. Why not make it a happy event for yourself? So instead of saying I should exercise or I should plan it out, what do you think you should say instead? What can you say instead?
I will.
Yeah, I will is a better word. I want to. I want to set this right. Like, there's a famous quote that I have read that we're always, saying things like, what if this doesn't happen? But what if it does? What if I fall? But what if you fly? So the way you talk to yourself is extremely critical, guys. So when you're saying you should make out a plan or you should plan it out, you're not going to do it. In most cases, of course, we're human beings and some of us will. So my recommendation or suggestion to you is don't tell yourselves to do it. Don't force yourselves to do it. Tell yourself you want it. Yeah? And out of those 10 goals, sorry, Jagrati, just allow me. Out of those 10 goals that you have, always remember one thing. And I'm going to show it to you.
Less is more.
Yeah. Less is always more. Don't pick up 10 goals to achieve because you'll not achieve those 10 goals. If you take 10 balls and you juggle, what's going to happen? They'll all fall. Not only, even one won't stay. But if you pick up 2 balls, the possibility of you achieving that is more, and the quality and what you're going to achieve is going to be so much more. So plan for less and achieve more. It always works, guys. Quality over quantity. Yeah? Jagrati, you were saying something.
Ma'am, like we were talking about we force things on ourselves. So what I've done is I've made this diary of mine. This is the diary that I possess, and in the night I put down things what I'm supposed to do tomorrow.
Love.
And in the night, once again, once the day ends, I tick mark the things what I've done, and I put a cross on things what I've not done. So that gives you motivation कि चलो इतना अचीव हो गया, इतना रह गया, और उसके डिस्पाइट मैंने कुछ किया तो I write it down in the night कि this is the plus point that I did. So after a few days you get irritated यार ये क्यों achieve नहीं हो रहा. So you start achieving those things on your own when you write it down and you tick them in the night and or highlight it. It gives you motivation for the next day to work.
It is such a good feeling to cross things off your list. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel amazing after doing it, and absolutely agree what Jagrati says. Write it down and cross it out. You know the feeling you get when you have cold coffee or chili garlic noodles? I don't know if you guys like that, but I get that feeling when I cross things off my list. It's like, oh my God, I've achieved something. And I don't need to achieve the world. I don't need to achieve 10 things. All my goals don't need to be complete today. Can I choose what's important to me and then just focus on that? I feel so much better about myself. And what Jagrati said is actually written down here. And I'm going to show it to you. Jagrati, could you read that?
Break it down and celebrate.
Absolutely. Now, break it down is something Jagrati beautifully spoke about. But celebrate is something that I don't think we do. As I don't know if it's an Indian thing or it's a universal thing. Whenever we are trying to achieve something, we say, "Jab tak complete achieve nahi hoga, no, I'm not going to celebrate." Very Sara. So I have 10 kgs to lose. Jab tak 10 nahi honge, I will not celebrate. How are you motivating yourself in those small achievements? That's what's going to motivate you to get the big achievement. So tell yourself. So for example, you need to write. You're writing, right? You need to write 2 pages every day on a particular thing that you're training yourself on. Write those 2 pages and tell yourself, I'm going to award myself with cold coffee after this. I'm going to award myself with hopefully healthy stuff, but with whatever you want to reward yourself with. But introduce rewards into your daily life, especially when we are here in the lockdown together, guys. Watch that movie that you really want to watch. Go make chili garlic noodles. Okay, that's my main thing. I love chili garlic noodles. It could be something else. Yeah. So I'm going to stop for a minute and check on everybody's. How are you all doing? Is it making sense or not? How are you?
It is making sense.
It is.
Is it? Okay. Any thoughts? Any questions? Anything?
I have a list of topics that whatever comes to my mind, I just list down that topic, whatever I have to write about. And whenever I get time, I write about all those things. So there are 4 of those topics that you mentioned today. I have to write about that. They're in mind, and now
Yeah.
I will.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing.
About 2, the unproductive one that you said, that it's okay to be unproductive. And what I meant by that was It's okay. Just don't be in that whole cycle. Like you have to be unproductive and productive as well. So if you're feeling lazy one day or 2 days or 3 days, it's okay. But remember to break that cycle. Don't be in
Absolutely.
the same zone over and over again because that's gonna create
Absolutely.
the whole lockdown situation is gonna just go into your mind then. And what has happened?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But then the point over here, Yuvika, is to enjoy what you do. All right? It's to enjoy what you do. So when you're being productive as well, it's important to enjoy what you're doing. Even if you can't enjoy it 100% of the time, at least 60 to 70% of the thing you should be enjoying doing, because then it's not going to seem like a task. And I'm going to come to that later. Yeah. So there's a very interesting thing I would like you guys to think about. I think somebody else was saying something else, right? Any other thoughts? Anything at all? Bableen, you were saying something?
What I'm fast at doing things. I complete a lot of things very like if the work would take 3-4 hours to complete, logic like in theory, I would take like 1 hour to complete it. And then I'm free for like the next 3-4 hours. But the energy consumed was that much only. So I have nothing to do. And I'm bored as well. So that is a problem.
Then maybe you need to figure out more things that you're interested in. I'm going to come to that a little later. Right, Yumika? Bableen, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was saying what happens with me is like in a to-do list, we have multiple tasks. Some can be cooking, some is related to your work. So you have this liberty that over these 4 or 5 hours, you can do first one this and then come back to, like Yuvika said, unproductive, productive cycle. So
Yeah.
I think keeping things visually in front of us also feels our mind that I have the freedom to choose. So you're not again forcing, but you have opened the options.
Absolutely. And that brings me to the next thing that I was going to talk about. I don't know how many of you have heard. There is a gentleman called Brian Tracy. He came up with this one concept of eat the frog. Have you heard? So in everything that we do, professionally or personally, in order to achieve our goals, we don't like everything that we do. So 80% of the things we like usually, but there is a 20% which is important, but you don't like it. So for somebody who's trying to lose weight, it could be something like staying away from fried stuff, right? So you like exercising, you like the result, but then you're crazy about fried stuff. So it's difficult. Similarly, say, in your profession or your, what do you say, in your universities, you love interacting, you love your GDs, group discussions, but what you don't like is writing. You don't like writing essays. So there is always a certain part of your job that you don't really like. Yeah. And that's when this entire theory of eat the frog comes up. So like Yuvika was saying, eat the frog, I'm going to show it again. Like Yuvika was saying, there you have to break the cycle. Now, while saying don't stress about being non-productive, doesn't mean that you're non-productive throughout, right? So eat the frog is a very interesting concept. Now I'll explain this to you. Eat the frog is, whenever you're doing tasks, the tasks that are important and you don't like, you finish them off first. So you get up in the morning, look at your to-do list and tell yourself, what's my frog today? And if you want to know more about this, guys, go back to, you could research Eat the Frog, Brian Tracy. It's very interesting. What's my frog today? You pick up your frog and then you start, okay, this sounds very gross, but you actually eat the frog. You know why? Because if you don't eat the frog will only keep growing bigger and bigger and visualize this and bigger. And when it becomes that big, it will become very difficult for you to eat it. So this is how your mind works. Whenever there is a task which you know is important to achieve your goal, and you don't want to do it, you keep procrastinating, it just keeps getting bigger in your head. You don't want it to reach a point that becomes so big that you're unable to eat it, and there goes your goal. So maybe when you're writing, when you're writing about the stuff that you want to do, you might want to ask yourself what your frogs are. So if I throw this question back at all of you right now, I would love it if you share what your frogs are. could be anything, personal, professional. What are your frogs? Are you aware of what your frogs are? Yuvika is.
Preparing breakfast for my own self in the morning.
Who's that?
Jagrati.
Jakriti. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that
I
you
couldn't
can
say.
eat too, literally.
Okay, preparing breakfast is her frog. But वो तो करना पड़ता है ना, हम कुछ कर नहीं सकते.
मैम
What?
अपने लिए करने में मुश्किल लगता है.
Okay, that's your frog. What about the others? Tell me your frogs.
Studying journalism.
Studying?
Studying my subjects
Studying. Sitting and studying. So there's a
this semester.
this semester, yeah. So sitting and studying kind of the attention can't happen.
So what I do is whenever I wake up in the morning, after I eat my food, the first thing I do is study. If the particular thing.
Yeah.
I don't like first because my mind is the most refreshed at that time. So whatever I'm gonna study, it goes straight into my mind. So the
Absolutely.
first 2 hours of my day, I am like I'm like a bulb. Anything to go into. So I do that.
Yeah. And you will realize when you eat your frogs, you'll realize they're not frogs actually. And at times you realize, oh my god, they're not that bad. This is fun. It just sometimes it's in your mind. Sometimes we are creating those barriers for ourselves. That's what I've realized. Some of my frogs have got converted into princes, so to say. They're not frogs anymore. But of course, some stay frogs. Yeah. Somebody has written to me, reading a novel that has been lying on my desk since 3 months now. Akansha has written this. This is her frog. And Tanya, for the last thing, when I said you need to celebrate, has written, I used to watch 2 episodes of my favorite series. That's how I celebrate my small achievements. That's brilliant, Tanya. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And reading a novel, Akansha, I think that's something that even I was struggling with. So I'm reading this beautiful book, guys, called, how can I forget the name? Sapiens. Have you heard of it?
Sapiens?
Yeah. It's an awesome, awesome book. Okay? So if you like reading, it's a great way to go back to the history of our human body, anatomy, etc. And in the current times, it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, I was supposed to read it, and I told myself, I know that I've not been reading it because there's so many other books which are seeming more interesting, but I know this will help me. So I tell myself, even if I don't read too much, I will read 2 pages every day. Even if I give myself a target of 2, I end up reading 10. So that's what I'm trying to say. That a lot of times you underestimate your own self. If you can't give yourself a huge target, chota target. Chota target kege you'll say, oh my god. You'll always overachieve your small target. So that's quite motivating. So what about the others? What frogs, guys? Any other frogs? Laziness is my frog. Vidya, I wish you could come on camera and tell us what you mean. Is it possible? You can write to me if it's not possible. It's okay. We're all sharing. We all have frogs. Vidya, are you coming? There you are. Do you want to tell us about this? Okay, Divya's disappeared, huh? So she's got pretty, I think I put her in a spot. Your voice is not audible. Maybe you're in mute, Divya. You can go off mute.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are. Tell us.
Yeah, laziness in the sense कि अगर मैं अभी जैसे we discuss कि हमें exercise करना है, I started doing yoga and then my laziness came in front of that yoga also कि मैंने 2 दिन किया फिर नहीं किया. So that is the main thing.
So I will give you a little concept and see if that helps you. Do you know that the biggest procrastinators are actually people who are perfectionists? Think about what I just said. The biggest procrastinators are people who are perfectionists. Tell me why.
Because they think a lot.
Okay. Put in a little more information.
Because they want to work in the most appropriate and the most wholesome sense. They would every day they would keep thinking about the same thing. and do it, but am I like, do I have all the resources to do it today? Will I be able to do it in
Exactly.
the most appropriate sense?
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly. So what happens is, and I think Shreya has messaged saying because they want to work more efficiently, which is absolutely true. So I'll tell you what happens. So say that you're a perfectionist. आपको सब कुछ perfect चाहिए, right? So you cannot do yoga without your yoga mat. You want to ensure that instead of 20 minutes, it's for 1 hour. You want to ensure there's the right kind of music, there's the right kind of environment, and there's the right kind of world, which is actually a make-believe world. The right kind of everything does not happen at the same time, right? But this is what happens with perfectionists. So they're like, no, I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to do it when everything is perfect. The point I'm trying to make is, guys, nothing will ever be perfect. Do it now. Okay. Sustainability is bigger than perfection. Think of what I just said. Sustainability and consistency is trumps perfection. If you do things consistently, even if it's for 20 minutes every day, it's bigger than perfection because perfection cannot be achieved every day. And that's okay. You will get results with sustainability. You will get results with consistency. You will not get results with perfection. So how are you going to change that? Think about it. Okay, now.
Okay.
Yeah. Hina, you want to say something?
I think I would like to share an experience from my PhD.
Sure. Is that Imran?
Yeah, it's me, Imran. I have been
Go for
listening.
it. Go for it.
Actually, PhD teaches you a lot about working every day, like working every hour, every minute. It's such a kind of an experience wherein you will have to put in an effort every day, like every day.
Right.
Matlab, I
Right.
remember I used to go to the library like I would leave my home at 8:30 and reach my library at 9. So we would
Right.
be among the first ones to get into the library, and we'll settle down, put our laptops, our books there, on the table, and from that moment on to 12:30 in the night or 1 2, we used to do our dinner at the university canteen. So it was a
Wow.
constant reading and writing every day. I mean, every day. Not
Wow.
even
Okay.
Sundays we do half day, but half day we'd go. And it was in the constant doing of those things. After 5 years, there was a thesis, very very well structured, very well argue with an argument with lot of rigor. That's how you, when you look back, then you think, my God, how did I achieve this thing? So
Absolutely.
it was not one day you sit up and say, look, I have done something. It was in the doing of constant, those exercises every day, writing
Absolutely.
500 words every day, okay, probably, next month editing them or deleting them altogether, that's a different thing. But it was like every day you would put in some kind of effort on paper, you know and
Right.
and
Right. So Imran,
train
so
your
what
mind.
worked? What is the one thing that worked?
I think it was the schedule, maintaining the schedule, dedication, and consistency. That was it.
Consistency, right? And tell me
Consistency,
another thing. And tell me another thing, Imran. Did you feel passionate about your job every single day?
not at all. Not at all.
That's the point I want to
It
make.
was it
That's
was
the point I
scary.
want.
It was scary every day. It was something that I
Yeah.
would not like to do. Yet I asked myself, made myself understand. No, this is what you are supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Pushing that
Absolutely.
extra mile, going that extra mile. I think
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Yeah. So allow yourself to say that it's okay that I don't feel passionate about what I'm doing every day. But you know what? If you have passion 3 days out of 5, you're at a good place. And if you don't have passion 2 days, it's okay. There can be zero activity days when you're like, aaj kuch nahi, man hi nahi hai. That's fine. But where is it tilting towards is what you want to see. Am I trying to perfect it or am I trying to be consistent? These are two things you want to look at.
I
It's
think
interesting.
I think
Even in relationships, intensity over consistency. Think about it.
I think we in academics or in other professions must emulate things from the sports people. The
Yeah.
kind of schedule they have.
Yeah.
Exercises, diet, hygiene. I think we can, because I know many of them who are professionals out there. So their work routine is very, very tough for us to emulate normally. You know,
Yep.
they are the
Yep.
people who have discipline and consistency. I think these are the two major things. You know, two major factors which will determine.
Correct. So, Imran,
Yeah.
I agree with what you say, but I'll just add something there so that we don't get confused. Yes, discipline, yes, consistency, but no pressure about being disciplined and being consistent. That's actually one of the main things we need to understand. If I get into the pressure, then I'll again end up being the perfectionist that I don't want. Okay? So just think about this a little bit as well.
But ma'am, I think having passion to do something is really very important,
What is
because
that?
unless you are passionate about things, you can't do it in a
Okay.
sustainable or in a perfectionist manner. This I feel.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but who's this?
Jagriti, not the
Jagriti.
student.
Yeah, yeah. So Jagriti, I completely agree with you, 100%. So that's what I'm saying. That passion has to be there. So if I have to put it in three ways, three things that need to be there. Even when you're working or you're in a university, one is passion to perform. Second is resilience. By resilience, I mean ability to handle failures. And third is your work ethic. And in your scenario, because a lot of your university students, work ethic is going to be your college ethic, your integrity. So these three things are in place, you're at a good place. And Jagriti, we're not saying not have passion. Of course, like I said, 3 out of 5 days have passion. But don't
Yes.
over question yourself if one day you're not feeling it. And also looking at the current scenario that we have. We are all in a very in something that we've never experienced before, not just us, but our parents and our grandparents. I don't think we've ever faced this. We don't know how to deal with it. We're all figuring this out together.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Now, a lot of people, come to me and they tell me that, Prakriti, it's great that you're telling us do this, do that, be productive, but I don't know what to do. Does that happen? I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm interested in. I like something, I start it, then I leave it in the middle of the, whatever, in the middle of the class or after 3-4 classes, I lose interest. Does that happen?
I think Prakriti, these interests, these anxieties are also much to do with the larger socio-economic, political, and the geocultural location wherein we are set in. For instance, my tastes would I would never consider my tastes as original tastes or my values as the original values. They're as much shaped by the larger socio-political and economic rules at play currently. And the way neoliberal capitalistic order has created in us, to invoke Karl Marx, the kind of a false conscious. So I think we need to really shatter that false conscious and get into a reading mode rather than just emulating people and emulating people from popular cultural tropes. I think
Good point. Good point. Good point.
what we need is rigor as students. I think we lack that, Prakriti. I'm so sorry to say that, because see, technology and this mediated kind of a wisdom is not going to help us in the longer run. I have myself seen myself as being a student, and of course now as a teacher, so called. We are not at all in the business of understanding things, creating that dynamic in our minds wherein we can challenge the present, the contemporary moment it's making, and try to shatter this and create some, what do we call that? Okay, if not original, but at least something near to original. I think
So I'll try to explain what I'm trying to say, Imran. I totally get your point, and I see where you're coming from. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that when you are starting something new, are you? Can you see this?
this is curious, and what else? I'm not.
Or are you curious or interested?
Okay, interested.
Okay. Think about this a little before you add your thoughts in.
I think academic training has made me not just curious and not just interested, but much more than that. You know, inquiring, suspicious, all those things together. I can just go on and on and on, put
Yeah.
as many adjectives as possible. But at the same time, um, I'm sure that the kinds of training, the kind of trainings that we need to acquire must also come from the reflection of our own selves, you know.
So,
I
so
think
yeah.
how what Imran is trying to say, we all feel that at some point or the other. So if I relate it to myself and students, I think suppose we all have we feel urgency to make a TikTok video because everyone else is doing it, or I feel the urgency to watch this Netflix series because all around me are watching Netflix these days. So that's not necessary. If you are not interested, if you are interested in reading a novel, which may be of any genre, then go for that. I think that's what Imran is trying to say, that thinking of our original interest and not borrowed,
Yeah.
like
But
happens.
which is one way of looking at it, but not everybody has your or Imran's temperament. It's important to understand that. Not everybody has your or Imran's level of awareness. And I know you personally, I've heard Imran, he's got a very high level of awareness and understanding about things. And I will not say that the majority has that. Some people are not even acclimatized or, they're not even used to, the way they have grown up has been very different. The exposure given to them is very different. So it just confuses those people. And I'm talking about students, I'm talking about even people at my age. A lot of people don't even know what they're genuinely interested in. So they think they're interested in something, then they try it out and they're like, oh my God, I don't like this. But my point I'm trying to make here is different. So understand the point. The point is, it's great to be curious. There is nothing wrong with in being curious. Yeah. And if you're curious, you go, you pursue, and you don't like it, that's also okay. Yeah. But my only point is move on to something else. Till the time you don't dig deeper and figure out, okay, I don't like this, I might like this, you will not know what you really like. I'm saying keep the search on, guys. And one day you will find your calling. Don't get demotivated by the fact that I haven't found my calling. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's excellent to be curious, but keep the chain on, keep it going. Then one day you will figure out whether you're interested in something as well. And picking up from what Imran and Bablina are saying, don't do things because the world is telling you. If you don't want to, don't. Figure out who you are. Do I want to? And even if you are the kind who wants to make a TikTok video, that's fine. That's the way you feel better about life. Yuvika's laughing. That's okay. Who am I to judge? I am no one to judge. If I want to write, if I want to do a writer's course, that's mine to do. If I want to watch Saas Bahu serials, that I will do. If I want to sing to my husband, I will do that. But I own my space, I own who I am, and I have to be proud of that. Yeah? And I'm sitting in front of you, I have not seen one Games of Thrones serial, which the entire world is raving about. And I'm okay with it because that's not my kind of cinema or whatever, my kind of this thing. So it's okay, just be yourself. Great to be curious. Do you guys know of this gentleman called Robin Sharma? Yeah, he wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's great.
Yeah.
So he is of the opinion, if you watch his TED videos, he's of the opinion that be curious, figure out what you want, keep being curious. And he did that. He tried out 7 different professions and then he became a motivational writer. But the point is, are you trying or are you getting demotivated? I don't think whatever I start, kabhi khadam nahi hota. A lot of people do that.
Prakriti, I would like to add here something more. I have heard a motivational speech by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and of course Denzel Washington's as well, because they share the same kind of the conceptual framework within which they operate. So I heard them speaking about not falling back on something else, like being single-minded. The problem with us is that in this age we have so many alternatives, so many options. Now,
Right.
what we tend to do is we keep so many options open for us. So if A doesn't work, so I'll fall back on B. If B doesn't work, I'll fall back on C.
Dating as well, Imran. Dating has also become like that. Option 1, option 2.
Yeah.
Swipe.
So, but these people are finding a lot of trouble with that. What they are suggesting, through of course, psychoanalytic research, backed by psychoanalytic research. So what they're saying is that actually this makes us less productive when you have so many alternatives, when you have so many things to fall back on. You're not able to, give that, create that brilliance in the thing that you essentially were supposed to do. All right. So what you do is you say, no, let me skip this and do this. Let me skip that and do. If
You don't try hard enough at one thing, is what you're saying.
Yes,
Because there's so many other options
and
available.
I really subscribe to their theories, to their motivational speech, because I don't think them just through a popular cultural trope kind of a funneling, but also very much informed by theory and larger understandings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
No, but yeah, I'll just come in. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, Imran, coming to your this, I'll talk about my personal experience in this lockdown.
Yes, ma'am.
I said I'll try and do something different, so I picked up the guitar,
Wow.
which I tried for 2 days, and I learned the A and the D strings, and then I said, no, that's not my cup of tea, so I gave it up. Then
Awesome.
no, I gave it up, Prakriti.
That's fine. That's fine.
I said I can't do it. But then I tried sketching. And you wouldn't believe I've made my 50th sketch today.
Wow.
So
This totally reinforces my point, guys.
Yeah,
This is what I'm saying.
yeah. And then I'm doing poetry was something which I was doing. So half my book is finished. So I mean, okay, I failed in guitar, but then I'm surprised that I've discovered sketching.
But ma'am,
You know,
where do you demarcate the point where you say that I have failed? Is it that
No,
you have?
yeah, because
Is it that you were
yeah.
just you could not?
Now that is a debate waiting to happen. So I'm going to stop right there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We'll shut up now. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, I'm just saying that we probably. I would love to debate on that at a later time.
Thank you.
Fair
But
enough.
in the interest of time, I would need to cut that
Yeah.
short.
Sure.
Yeah. But this. Oh, so Akansha has message. Would love to see Geeta ma'am's sketches. That's for you, Geeta.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the point that I was making, guys. Everyone doesn't have that kind of exposure to know themselves. Like, a lot of people say things like, even when wrong things are happening to you, you're getting physically abused, right? A lot of people are of the opinion, why don't you get up and fight? I'm of the opinion that person does not have confidence for a reason. That person has not had the exposure you've had to get up and fight. Who am I to judge? The point is, the person has spoken today and the person is fighting today. Am I going to support the person, or am I going to expect the person to be like me? So that's the point I'm trying to make. I cannot make everybody like me. So just because I have the exposure and I have the bandwidth and the awareness to know what I like, it's important for me to be sensitive to people who don't. Yeah, and help them realize what they like. And yeah, it's okay. Just be curious, be interested. You will figure out your way. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the next point. Anybody could read this. Can you read it?
Emotions is X a bad word?
It's not.
Not at all bad.
Yeah. So that's something that I really want to stress on, guys. Emotions is not a bad word. Okay. There'll be days when you'll get depressed. There'll be days when you'll be so low. There'll be days when you want to, probably kill each other. There'll be days you would want to bang somebody's head on the. I mean, I'm not saying that physical abuse is okay. I'm just saying you have those emotions. Yeah. Emotions, even if you're missing somebody, say your better halves, your bitter halves, your friends, you're missing people. That's also okay. The point is that emotions should not make you react or make you commit an action that you will later regret. That's what emotions shouldn't do. But it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to feel low. It's okay to cry. And that'll happen a lot. There will be days when you won't know why you're crying. And that's fine. I just want to tell all of you it's normal. Yeah? Don't feel bad. You're not weak. And I write, guys. So there's this line that I wrote in one of my poems saying, tough is weak and weak is tough. There are days when tough is weak and there are days that when weak is tough. It's actually one and the same thing. Just because you're weak does not define you. One day when you're weak, it doesn't define you. What about the joy in you? What about the toughness in you? Celebrate it. And I always say, I know this, I have made the mood very gambhir like this. But what I'm trying to say is, whenever you feel worry, fear, panic, depression, anxiety, sit with it. Have a cup of coffee with it. Go make yourself something to eat. Have a conversation and ask yourself, why am I feeling this feeling? Where is it coming from? Understand it. Give it time. And when you give time and space to this emotion, the emotion will go away after a point. But deal with it. Deal with it. You know why? Because what you resist persists. If you resist it, if you resist anything and throw it, it'll come back with a bigger force. So it's not going away anywhere if you're resisting. It's normal. All right. So next one. Madleen, you can do the honors of reading it for me.
Sharpen the, I can see the lower part of the screen. Sharpen the saw.
Yeah. What do you think I mean by this? You know, Abraham Lincoln, you know what he said? He said, if I get 5 hours to cut a tree, I will use 3 hours to sharpen my saw and 2 hours to cut the tree. Interesting, huh? So whatever skill you have that is unique to you, just keep sharpening it. It needs to keep getting sharpened. It's not going to stay with you all your life if you don't sharpen it, if you don't update it. Yeah? So it's a very simple message. I don't think I need to talk much about it, but yeah, that's important too. And finally, I have, yes, Badleen, if you could read that for me.
Be there. Be there.
Yeah. And I want to leave you with this message, guys. Be there for the people around you. Be there for people you love. You know, our parents, our husbands, wives, our grandparents, they're all there for us, right? But what's important to understand is that it's as new to them as it is to us. They have not faced this kind of situation before. So if you need protection, care, stability, security, so do they. So what are you doing, in your day to make them feel and say that you're there for them? They're there for you, but are you there for them? Yeah. So they're actually the children, and you become the parents. Sometimes you change roles there as well. Yeah. So I hope this helped, guys. I'm going to stop for questions. I'm going to stop to take your thoughts, and feel free to ask me them, or any thoughts that you have, anything to share.
Any thoughts, any observations? Anyone wants to share something?
The emotions part you mentioned, in that, what I believe is that people hide from emotions because they're not particularly aware of what they want. So unless and until you know your emotions, you are able to feel them, you're able to know each of them, and you're not afraid. Be it all kinds of despair, happiness, joy, sadness, jealousy, envy, anything. You need to know all of them and the amounts of them, like in what quantity each of them affects you. Because once it starts affecting you, it affects the people around you. And that is something that we need to know, because being emotionally balanced is as equally important to being productive or being intelligent or being, as in your mental abilities or cognitive abilities, as they say, they need to be intact. Emotional balance also needs to be intact, because without that you cannot survive in life, and that cannot happen unless and until you know your emotions and you're aware of them, and you let yourself feel each and every one of them. Just don't be like stuck on one emotion for a very long time. Obviously you're gonna create something in your some chaos inside your mind, but slowly and gradually you need to step from one emotion to another, and don't be afraid to feel any of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I say, I come from a financial consulting firm, working for a financial firm. So even in our organization, guys, we focus on EQ over IQ. IQ is great, a lot of people have it, But how many of us have EQ? EQ is your emotional quotient. Because at the end of the day, it's great that your knowledge is great, but can you handle people around you? Because that is 80% of your job. So for any manager in an organization, for all of you who are going to be managers tomorrow, the main competency that's going to be judged is how do you handle your own emotions and how do you handle the emotions of others. So it's very important to understand that emotions is not a bad thing. Hiding it is not a bad thing. Yes.
एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू मी इमोशन हमेशा आपको वीक नहीं बनाता है, कभी कभी आपको पावर भी देता है किसी अपने इमोशन से लड़ने की। आपको एक पावर मिलती है कि आप कैसे उस चीज से बाहर निकल सकते हैं और कैसे आप उस सिचुएशन को फेस कर सकते हैं। हमेशा आपको वीक नहीं बनाता।
Absolutely, it's a release, na Hina? It's a release. It releases everything from you. So it's very scientific if you could think of it like that. So whenever your body is tense, it will release. All right, it can come in the form of tears sometimes, and before an interview you want to put the loo, right? Yeah, because there's water that's getting released. When you're nervous, your hands sweat. So it's a very scientific process of your body releasing stuff from you for you to feel lighter. So what you do post that is you of course drink more water to feel hydrated, you feel better, but it will release and you will feel better. So I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I feel better after crying. And when I watch movies I'm a crier. I cry a lot in movies. So don't judge me. I love it. So when I watch movies and cry, it makes me feel good. I'm like, oh my God, I'm able to feel this emotion. That's awesome. And if I can feel this emotion, I'll be able to feel emotions of others. And that's my job, right? So in our job, we are not certified psychologists, but we do a lot of psychology related work. So for me, I have to know and understand people's emotions because my reality is different from their reality. So can I step into their reality for a minute and stop thinking about myself and understand what you're going through? That's the person I want to be.
But Prakriti, I would just like to say that in the workplace, you're not allowed to exhibit your emotions. You are supposed to be kind of, the Miss Perfect in front of students, in front of your colleagues. Your emotions cannot be kind of exposed.
No, but that's where things are different now. That's how things are different now.
But I think in most of the workplaces, it is kind of a very conservative environment.
No. Maybe in some workplaces, but in the financial force, I know a lot of people, and we actually, tell people to speak about them. Of course, I'm not saying get into a crying fit in meetings. So that is the extreme of it all, right? But talking about your emotions is actually something it's encouraged in today's day and age. And dealing with your emotions, sitting with your manager and saying, okay, this is what is making me feel this way. How do I deal with it is something we encourage now. So you're not supposed to be.
I think it has not entered the universities.
Yes. So education is different. Yes.
Yeah, education. It has still not entered.
Prakriti, I would like to add here. Ma'am, when I talk about the entertainment industry where I belong to, I would say, still I belong to, apart from my academic industry. But over there, we have to have a smile on our face always. And even though we have had a very bad day, or things like somebody's even like my demise, like my grandmother, where I got the news, I was on the stage that she's no more, but I had to finish my work, and it was 5 p.m. till 8. I was just engaging with the audience, and I was holding a smile, and I couldn't cry. And these kind of experiences where in the line, a very famous line that the show must go on, we have to live up to that. So there I think we have to we really have to control our emotions, and then we have to fake it. We have to fake it in a very lively way, and that's where I think it's a challenge to be very genuine.
So Prabjot, to help you, okay, there's somebody's needs to go mute because I can't hear. Yeah, so Prabjot, to add to what you're saying, you're absolutely right, because that's the entertainment industry, right? So you're on show at that point, so you cannot show your emotions. So if I'm in a training session, I can't show my emotions. If I'm feeling unwell, I can't. But I'm just saying, when it comes to managing team structure, when it comes to managing people who are reporting to me, that's when it's okay for me to express how I'm feeling. And where the people in my team are okay, it's okay for them to express what they are. So even if they're feeling disappointed, they're feeling rejected, they're feeling I'm being biased towards anybody, we encourage them to talk and have these conversations.
I
But
think
I am feeling, so it's basically in reference to when you have teams that you're dealing with and people reporting to in that scenario. I totally get it. The entertainment industry, it's different. Education, it's different. Yeah. But so even wherever you are,
Prakriti, I would
borrowing
like
from
to add something. I think I completely agree with you that emotions are needed to be shown, because that's the reason. If you look at most of the industry like IT and all, depression, suicides are very common. I think even at workplaces, and why not education also? Obviously, not while taking a class, but it's very normal to have emotions and display them. I think maybe not entertainment industry when you're on a stage because you have to conduct a
or if you're in a training session, we get that. Or when you're teaching.
I think
borrowing from what Neeti and Geeta ma'am said, that I think students enjoy our classes, those classes more when we are talking to them apart from
absolutely
what is in the syllabus, and they connect, and it